Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Standing Prime Rib Roast. Well, it's that time of year once again. It's time for the holiday prime rib. Now this year we're going to be cooking a bone-in prime rib roast, or a standing prime rib, and this one's from Creekstone Farms. Shout out to those guys. The beef is fantastic. We appreciate it. As you can see, they've already Frenched these bones for us, which is going to make for a really pretty presentation. We're cooking with their master chef. This is a USDA prime black Angus beef, pretty much as good as you can get. All right, so you can see this really beautiful piece of beef, nice marbling, that pretty decal coming around the outside, and you've got that fat vein in there. Now, I'm not opposed to keeping some of the fat on the outside of it, but I can already tell you that I can see some silver skin underneath this initial fat cap. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and trim it up just a little bit, just to get rid of that tough silver skin. So this will kind of just peel back. It naturally wants to separate there. You can help it along a little bit with your knife. And then when it starts to stick, we'll use our knife to complete the process. And we'll just kind of work first on all of this looser stuff and get that out of the way. See, now that's a little bit of that silver skin. See that shimmer, you know you don't want to chew on that. Now right through the center of this thing, you're going to see this vein of fat that sits there. And I don't want to trim all the way down because it's really going to change the shape of everything. So I'm just going to kind of work around that, getting rid of this silver skin next to it. And just take a little bit of that excess fat off the top of it, but I'm not going to mess with it too much. So just a little bit of hard fat there we're going to remove as well. Clean up this underside just a little bit. Essentially anytime there's just like a really hard piece of fat, probably going to get rid of that. But that's looking pretty good. Now next I want to prepare the seasoning, which is really simple, 4-ingredient wet rub. All right, so I've got here a 1/2 ounce package of fresh rosemary. We're just going to take these sprigs out of here and strip the leaves right into our small food processor. And I'm going to add to that a 1/2 cup of minced garlic. I've also got a 1/2 cup of our Cattleman's Grill California tri-tip, so just a really solid steak seasoning. And finally, just a 1/4 cup of nice quality Sicilian EVOO. We're just going to blitz this down until that rosemary is chopped up nice and fine. All right, so you can't really see any large chunks of the rosemary, so I think that's a good place to stop. Now before we apply this wet rub to the rib roast, we're going to truss this thing up. You can see we've got this nice, beautiful round shape. We're going to try and keep it that way as much as possible. So now I'm going to double up on my twine because this is a big old piece of meat and I want to make sure we've got enough strength here. We'll wrap that around a couple times to give it a grip. And I'm just going to work my way right down the line. Again, a couple of twists to give it something to grip. And tie that off. All right, so now we're just going to slather this thing up. Apply the wet rub to all surfaces. All right, we've got that thing covered in our wet rub, so it's ready to go straight onto the smoker. Today we're cooking on the Yoder Smokers YS640 Pellet Grill. It's running at 250 degrees with a combination of cherry and pecan pellets. We're gonna start this process off by smoking the beef, and we're gonna finish it with a sear. So we're utilizing that reverse sear technique. All right, so we're gonna just place this bone side down for now. Give a little thermal barrier right underneath. And due to the size of this roast, we've removed that second shelf and we'll just be cooking on the main cooking grate. Well, the prime rib's been smoking away for just shy of 3 hours now. We're shooting for about 105 on the internal temperature before we take that thing off, turn the grill up, and get ready to sear for a finishing temperature of about 120. Now, I threw the fireboard thermometer in there just to let me know when it's ready so I didn't have to worry about it. Woo, smell that garlic and rosemary. It smells amazing. We're just gonna take this right off to the side for now. Just gonna tint it with a little foil. And then I wanna get it here and remove the door to give us some direct grilling space right here over the fire. So we'll slide those back in place. And I'm gonna turn this temperature up all the way to 450 degrees. So here we are, less than 10 minutes and the grill's come up to temperature. I'm gonna hit the surface with just a little bit of fat. We're gonna go right over the flame to get some char on our prime rib. I like for it to stand up for now, so we're just gonna wedge that in there. All right, so nice char already on the outside there after just a few minutes. Let's flip this over. So we'll kind of work our way around, start by charring this back side, then the bottom, then up here toward the bones. Now just be conscious that the internal temperature is continuing to rise. So even after we pulled it off, it didn't just stop cooking, it crept up probably another 5 degrees. Now we're starting to get that char on the outside. It's gonna continue to creep up until we get to that 120, and we wanna make sure we get our char on the outside by the time we get to that 120, which is why we're cooking with the lid open right now. When we get to that side with the fat vein running through it, it's gonna cause a lot of flames, so don't let it sit there for too long. $117, we're right on track. Let's close the lid up and let it finish cooking. All right, 120 on the money, we're taking it off. I'm gonna give that prime rib a good 20 minutes or so to rest, just tinted with foil so it doesn't cool off much. In the meantime, I wanna show you guys how to put together this really fantastic horseradish crème fraîche. Now, essentially what we're doing is making our own sour cream, which takes a little bit of time, but it's super easy. We're gonna start off with just shy, no, right around a pint of heavy whipping cream and add to that some cultured buttermilk. This is what's really gonna kick stuff off. So we need about 2 tablespoons. And you wanna just give this a really good shake for about 10 seconds. So at this point, there's nothing more to do but to let it rest. You've got to leave it out at room temperature for about 24 hours. So get started on this a day or two ago, before your prime rib's even on your mind. Now this one, I started yesterday morning, and I'll show you the difference. Right now what we have from the one we just started, that's just liquid, right? But this one that's now sat out for over 24 hours, it's thick like sour cream. And in that time, not only does it thicken up, but the flavors really develop. It's something truly amazing, something scientific that I can't tell you all of the answers to, but I can tell you that it tastes awesome, and I can tell you that if we add a few more things, it's gonna taste even better. So what we're gonna do is add to our creamy crème fraîche base a 1/4 cup of prepared horseradish. I like the hot stuff. I also want a tablespoon of minced shallot and a teaspoon of minced rosemary. And then we'll just finish it off with a bit of fresh cracked pepper and some of our smoked salt. It's tangy, it's creamy, and the longer that you let that sit, I mean, just a couple hours is good, but the longer you let that sit with the rosemary and everything, all those flavors start to travel throughout the entire sauce. And just so you know, this sauce will be fine in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 weeks. Well, here it is, rested and ready to slice. Really beautiful looking char on the outside, and the aromas, all that garlic coming off of there, just incredible. You see we got a little dark on the bones here during that last part. If I was being more careful, I could have put some foil around those, but it doesn't bother me much. So the way I'm gonna get into this to slice it, we still have the strings in place. We're gonna cut right through those. We're gonna come down right alongside the bones so that we can cut thinner slices out of this main part. So just let that knife ride right along the bones. And then this thing will lay flat for you. Now your strings may still be embedded there, so go ahead and find the end of it and peel those off. Now let's just go ahead and work some slices off of here. Now what you're gonna find is that the pieces toward the end are gonna be great for the people who like it a little bit more done. And these slices in the center, better for those who like it a little more medium rare. However you like it, you're gonna enjoy all that juice coming out of there. Look at that, just dripping. Perfectly pink slice prime rib. Let's have a taste. Wow. Just so juicy and tender. And that pink stuff in the center melts in your mouth. So much flavor on the char on the outside. It's a really great balance from the center to the outside. And all these juices running out of here. Come take a look at this. These juices are packed full of flavor, so don't dump those away. Pour them back over the slices to serve. And I gotta snag a bite with some of this crème fraîche as well. It's creamy, but it's also tangy, which just works incredible with like that smokiness, the salty crunch from the char on the outside. It's a symphony of beautiful flavors. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do me a favor, head over to atbbq.com, check out the products in today's video. It really does help us out, helps us continue to make these videos week after week. If you enjoyed the recipe, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.